Hello. So another question I get asked a lot is how much does your European road trip cost? What does it cost? So I'm going to try and explain what I spent. So, um to start with, it's a bit like how long's a piece of string, I've got to be honest. Saying, oh, how much does it cost? Or asking somebody else what their holiday cost and expecting to pay the same, because there are so many factors to take into account. So the first thing would be, if you're doing this in a camper van or motorhome, the size of your engine, the amount of miles you're thinking of going, the types of roads you're going to be travelling on, and that's just thinking of the fuel. Then also it will depend on such as food. Are you going to be eating out a lot in restaurants, cafes, whatever? Are you going to be cooking in the van? What type of food do you buy? Do you buy top notch food? Do you buy budget food? So again, bit like a bit of string. Do you drink alcohol? I do. So, I've got an allowance for that. Well, I say an allowance, it just costs what it costs. And then also things such as attractions. Will you be paying to go and see shows? Are you going to hire a speedboat for a couple of days? It massively varies, but again, I'm just going to give you my experience of this. And the other thing to bear in mind is, as well, I do this off grid. Are you going to pay for campsites? Now, if you're going to pay for campsites, on average, and I'm just saying average, it will vary, 20 to 30 euros a night possibly. Now, for a 2-month road trip, that would have added £1,200 onto my trip. So for me, I would rather spend that money on vodka. No, I'd just rather spend that money doing fun things. So, right, I'm going to get going then. So my Citroen Relay Enterprise H3L2 has a 2.2 litre diesel engine and it's manual. On this trip, I did just under 4,000 miles. I've got to look at my notes for this. I visited 71 places. I keep a record of everywhere I visit because I just can't remember. So I can look back on it, and it was all done off grid. I say all off grid, apart from 3 nights in Benidorm when I met my friend and we had a good blowout there. So, and that apartment cost £135 for my share of it for the 3 nights, just to factor in. The booze for Benidorm was probably off the scale, I got to be honest. But hey ho, because I don't find it cheap in Benidorm. That's the way it is. There are certain bars if you go out of the way, but I like to be in the thick of it. So I have to pay the tourist prices, don't I? So my ferry across from Dover to Calais return was with DFDS. A 6-metre camper van. It will vary on the size of your camper van. They also ask for the height, etc., of your camper van. If you've got a trailer or a bike on the back, it could make it longer. Will also depend on the time of sailing and the time of year you're going. For me, it cost me £262 return. Now, something to bear in mind here is my insurance company insisted on a return date booked at the same time as the outgoing date, and that was one of their stipulations. So just check your own insurance company and see, where they stand. Fuel, my actual mileage was 3,943, and I know that's spot on because I had my trip, is it called an odometer? Anyway, I had my trip thing set, and 3,943 miles, and my diesel bill was £626 sterling. That might be slightly out. I might have missed one petrol station. I don't think I have, and there may have been a little bit of fuel in it when I got back or in it when I came out. I'm not going to get in there with a dipstick and see what was there. That's roughly. So for me, fuel wise, like, a good thing to do when I think where I'm going roughly, I'll go around the map, just quickly do a mileage between it all, get a rough idea of how many miles I'm going to be thinking of doing, and I'll add on maybe another few hundred miles for deviations, change of mind, getting lost, all that sort of thing. And then you can work out what your vehicle does to the gallon, and you've got yourself a little budget for your fuel. That's what I would do. Tolls, for me, I didn't take any toll motorways, so I can't comment on that. I've heard in France they really are quite expensive. It's not for me. I don't want to pay the extra money. Plus, I want to see more of the country. So it's a bit like the UK. If you're on a motorway here, you don't really see a great deal, do you? And it's the same with France, really. So for me, I don't want the speed to get somewhere really quickly. So I take non-toll. I did do non-motorway once, and I went through about 3,000 roundabouts, but some very pretty villages. So, food and booze. Well, I can't divulge the booze cost. Again, it would depend if you're eating out a lot. For me, I don't like cooking in my van. Firstly, because I really can't be bothered. And secondly, because I don't want it to smell of cooking. And when I'm out there, if I'm lucky and the weather's good, I will mainly eat salads. So I'll go into somewhere like Aldi or Lidl and I buy the little plastic pre-packed salads, and some of them are delicious. And I tend to eat like that. I will use some local supermarkets in France, Spain, wherever. But generally, on the whole, I'll go there. I know what I'm getting. I can read the labels within reason. If not, I use good old Google Translate. Out with the phone. What's that say? What is it? So that's how I eat. I will eat out occasionally, and I will drink out at every opportunity. But yeah, so that's that. The other thing to bear in mind is attractions and tickets. If you're going to go to lots and lots of different attractions, I'm going to pay, that's going to add up. So put that into your budget. Again, such as if you wanted to hire a boat or go on a trip, then that's going to obviously put the money up again. So things to think of. Also repairs. If you're on the road and you need a repair, try and keep a little bit in reserve for that. Once after I'd been up, I can't remember if it was the Pyrenees or the Alps. It was Alps, I think, on a horrendous road that I would not like to drive again. My back brakes were making a hell of a racket, so I went into a main Citroen dealership, which was only about 3 miles away. At this stage, I didn't care. I just wanted it doing. Never mind trying to look for a little local garage. The beauty was that I went into the main dealership, gave some charades, pointed to the wheel and went, "Arr!" And they thought it was highly funny. And then the mechanic came to looked at them, and added to that Google Translate. Between us, I was told I need new brake pads. So he then disappeared into the back of the office and came out holding a box. And I was like, oh, you've got them. When can you do it? Now. So he did it there, and then I was in and out the garage within the hour. I think it was €175. Maybe I would have got it cheaper somewhere else. I didn't care at that stage. I wanted it fixing. And that was like a pit stop. In, fix, done, out. Fantastic. So I was well over the moon with that. Count myself lucky. So we've got the £626 for the fuel. The overall cost, I'm not going to break everything down because I really can't be bothered and you just want a big figure. For me, for 2 months, this was France and Spain this time. And I went down as far as Benidorm, and the entire amount was £2,056 sterling. That's what my whole trip cost me. So, and that includes the apartment in Benidorm, 3 nights on the lash in Benidorm partying, a few meals out, a few little attractions. The roads I drove were non-motorway. I also did mountains, the Pyrenees and the Alps. And I think that's everything. So, and it includes the price of the ferry. Hopefully that's given you a little insight. As I say, everybody's different. That's just what it cost me. And I like to try and do it on a budget because it means if I do it on a budget, I can go more times, more places, more holidays. It's a win-win. Thank you very much for watching. If you would subscribe, that would be fantastic. If you could drop a like or a comment, that would be also be great. And if you could share it, that would be even better. Thank you. Bye.